This is the Bringing Business to Retail podcast, and today we're going to talk all about how to build your customer database without eating into your profits. Welcome to the Bringing Business to Retail podcast, where I, Selena Knight, share strategies, interview retail revolutionaries, and delve into the minds of e-commerce experts to help you grow a profitable, independent retail or e-commerce business. If you're stuck in a rut, or if you feel like business is way harder than it should be, or you've overachieved all of the things that you've set out to and are wondering what to do next, or how do I even make this better? I know that you're going to love today's episode. If you're stuck in a rut, feel like business is way harder than it should be, or you've achieved all of the things that you set out to and are wondering what next, or how do I even make this better, then I know that you're going to love today's episode. This episode is brought to you by my Recovering Lost Sales workbook. We all love it when people buy, but what about when they don't? Imagine if you could encourage 20, 30, or even 40% of those lost shoppers to move it back over the line. What if you could entice them to come back and buy from you at another time? How would those extra sales impact on the revenue of your business? In this business building workbook, I'll show you the strategies and the steps that you need to take, both online and in-store, in order to turn disinterested customers into buyers. You can grab it over at theretailacademy.net/shop. Hey there, and welcome to today's episode. Thanks so much for joining me. Hey, what did you think of my brand new intro? I feel like after 350 odd episodes, it was time to shake it up a little bit and to get rid of the cheesy American guy and replace it with me. Because we've done a lot here on the podcast over the last 12 months. And one of those is, thanks to feedback from you guys, is more episodes with me, giving you strategies that are working in retail and e-commerce right now. And you've probably noticed that quite a lot of the episodes, we've moved away from that interview process. Don't worry, we still will have interviews, but I'm giving you strategies because I'm in the trenches every single day working with clients, and I'm going to share with you on the podcast things that are working right here, right now. Okay, maybe the right here, right now was a little bit of a Freudian slip because last week on Friday, I went to see Fatboy Slim live in concert. Yes, I was reliving my youth. My next door neighbor called me up the day before and said, "You're the only person I know who would even like this kind of music. Do you want to come?" And I was like, hell yeah, I am there. If you follow me on Facebook and Instagram, you would have seen me do my little dance moves that I was doing in preparation. And I have to say, I was kind of worried about what I should be wearing as a 44-year-old woman going to a dance concert, rave. Well, it wasn't a rave, but kind of was the equivalent when you're 44 years old. But I had so much fun. I literally danced the night away. I danced from my neighbor's house. We danced in the car. And then when I got there, which was probably 7:30, I'm going to say, I danced right through till 10 o'clock and did not stop. I am sure I burnt a lot of calories. But here's the thing. I was so sore the next day. I had muscles in my ribs, clearly from all the dancing and waving my arms around, that I didn't even know existed. And let's just point out here that I go to yoga 5 or 6 nights a week. So it's not like I sit in a chair and don't do anything. But I had so much fun. And it was really interesting because a lot of people were my age, because clearly Fatboy Slim, he was a late 90s, early 2000s was when he was in his prime. And it was just really interesting and fun to see people who were happy just to be there. Like, there were no fights at all. Usually when you go to concerts, there's always people who drink way too much and, get into fights. No fights, just a whole bunch of people my age who were clearly just happy to be out for a night without the kids and dancing our feet off. And it really did make me think I have to go and do things that I enjoy more often. Like, we get stuck in a rut, and even though I do exercise and I do get out every single day, I think every now and then we have to break out of the mold. Now, imagine you were at that dance party. Imagine you and I were going to see Fatboy Slim together, and we walked in and some stranger jumped out and said, "Hey, Give me your email address. I am super cool and clearly like the same thing, and you are really going to want to hear from me next week. Would you think that's a little bit odd? Yeah? What would you do? Probably run away really fast or look for security, right? Well, this is essentially one of the biggest mistakes that e-commerce store owners make when it comes to building their customer database. They think that they are so important that people will just want to hear from them and sign up to their newsletter. So they put a pop-up on their website, and 5 seconds after you've visited this site that potentially you've never ever been to before, you haven't even had a chance to look at the pictures on the homepage, and here in your face is a pop-up that says, hey, give me your email so that I can send you all the latest news. Sounds a bit weird, hey? Okay, so let's picture another scenario. We've been dancing away and you've been talking to someone who's really, really nice at the bar, and when it comes to leave, they just walk away. You thought you had a bit of a connection, but then they just left. It would make you feel a little bit unwanted, right? A bit left out, and maybe not want to talk to that person again. Well, this, my friends, is where most retail stores fall down when it comes to building their customer database. Most retail stores, and I'm talking physical retail stores, simply aren't asking their customers if they would like to join their customer database. And what I found is the stores that do generally only ask people who have purchased something. Okay, so I'm only going to talk to you again in the future if you've already bought something from me. Can you guys see that neither of those strategies, sticking the pop-up in somebody's face and saying, sign up to my newsletter, or just letting people walk out the door without engaging with them and trying to add them to your customer database, neither of those is the ideal scenario. In fact, both of them seem quite rude, right? So let me ask you, do you have a newsletter subscribe box on your website? Let's start with e-commerce stores first. Yeah? Let me ask you another question. Are you offering a discount of, say, 10% or free shipping as an incentive for people to join your database? Yeah? Now, I'm not saying that those don't work. They probably do. But studies show that 10% off is not enough to push the fence sitters off the fence. So people who buy with 10% off were already going to buy. They're not buying just because you're giving them 10% off. So you are losing out pure profit. They were already going to buy. You're just taking money out of your own pocket. And free shipping, there are times when free shipping really works, but if you do not know a customer, if you've never met that customer before, you are incentivizing them to buy less. And when I say free shipping, I don't mean free shipping over $50 or free shipping over $100. I'm just talking about free shipping. So sign up to the newsletter to get free shipping on your first order. That, my friends, is just incentivizing that potential customer to spend less. They're just going to try out your store before they see if they actually like it. So let's say it costs an average of $15 for you to ship an order, right? I'm just talking averages here. If you have a 100% markup, which means you buy a product for $20 and you sell it for $40, you actually have to sell an additional $30 worth of product because you've got to take the $15 cost of goods out to make the $15 profit. So you have to sell an additional $15 just to break even. And that's a lot of money. That's a lot of profit that is going down the drain. Now, of course, that's a very simplified version. We often take into account things like customer lifetime value, average order sale, all those sorts of things. But I'm going to break this down to be really, really simple in that if you are giving away money, whether it is $10 off or 5% off or free shipping, the fact is you are giving away your profits. And you don't have to do that in order to build your customer database. Think about it. You don't want to be conditioning your customers right from the beginning, right from the first time that they've ever met you, to value your stuff as less. And that's what you're doing when you're giving people a discount. You're saying, you know what, my stuff isn't actually good enough to pay full price for right from the beginning. You would never say that, right? And let's look at Apple. It is really, really difficult to get a discount on an Apple product, right? They're a premium brand. The most you ever see is something like 10% off. Usually they value add when they go into a sale. So they have buy a MacBook Pro and get a pair of AirPods. They value add rather than discount because they don't want to suck you in with a discount. They know that their products are worth paying full price for. So they set you up right from the beginning to pay that premium price. Now, let's factor in that 96% of customers who hit your website aren't ready to make a purchase yet. And I'm saying that out of experience. You probably have a 4% conversion rate if you're doing really good. That means 96% of the people who hit your website didn't buy anything. However, if you don't grab that customer now, you might never ever see them again. Maybe they came to your website from a Facebook link or a recommendation or a Google ad. And if you don't have remarketing in place, then you've wasted all the effort it's ever taken to get that person to your website. And let's think about this. If a customer has a choice of buying from your website and getting a 10% discount or going to a competitor's website and getting a 15% discount for the exact same product, where are they going to go? They're probably going to go to your competitor. So now you're in a position where the only thing that you're competing on is price. And that is not a good place to be. Going back to Apple, you don't see Apple products on sale. And yet people still line up around the block days beforehand to get their hands on new products. So how exactly do you build your customer database without feeling like a sleazy douchebag in the process and not cut into your profits as well? Well, this exact question came up last week in our Retail Collective office hours. And my answer was that you have to give to get. Now, I just said that 96% of people who come to your website aren't ready to buy. And sure, you can spend money retargeting them with Facebook ads or Google ads if you've got the pixel in place. However, there's also an option to do this for free. You want to know how to do it? I know you do. Well, quite simply, if you can capture that potential customer's email address right from the beginning, it can zip into your email marketing system, and you know that we love Klaviyo, and you can be retargeting that person via email, which costs you the grand total of nothing because you are already paying for your email marketing software. Now, I don't know about you, but I am much happier to get a sale and engage with a customer for free than I am having to pay for it. So that's the first tip. The first tip is get that person's email as soon as you possibly can, but don't be like that person at the bar who is saying, give me your email address the minute that they meet you. So there are a couple of things that you can do to not be the sleazy douchebag. The first one is time your pop-ups. So there are things called exit intent pop-ups. So the pop-up only comes up when the screen basically detects that, or the browser detects that the person is about to leave. So they're about to hit the back button or the close button. So those exit intent pop-ups, they can be customized. And I highly suggest that you do that. Now, the other thing that you can do, of course, is have your standard pop-up, but it is time, guys, to scrap the 10% off, to scrap the discount, to scrap the free shipping. Because, think about it again, those 96% of people who aren't ready to buy, what good is 10% off if there's nothing there that I want to buy today? Sure, I can sign up and your email might get lost in all the clutter in my inbox, but there's no incentive for me to actually give you my email address if I'm not quite sure if I even like your stuff. Like, everybody knows, customers know that when they give you their email address, you're going to send them emails. It's a currency. So if a customer isn't quite sure about whether they're prepared to go into an email relationship with you, then quite simply, they're not going to sign up. But I don't want that for you. I want you to get that email address as soon as you possibly can and not feel like a sleazy douchebag. So that is where this concept of give to get comes in. And as I said, we talked about this inside the Retail Collective, and we talked about some of the ways that you could be doing this. And I'm going to share with you my favorite. How many did I write down? I think I wrote down 4. So my favorite 4, and these are ones that always convert. Okay. The first one is to create a checklist. People love ticking things off checklists, and I can't tell you how many checklists I have downloaded. Camping checklists, suitcase, like getting ready to travel checklists, weekend away checklists. When I had my retail stores, we used to have our opt-in, that's what it's called, our freebie, was a hospital baby bag checklist because we sold products for new mums and babies. I can't tell you how many times that thing got downloaded. Literally thousands. We had a huge email database. It cost us nothing. But as a customer, it was like, wow, here is something that I can use. I don't really care about 10% off, but I can use that hospital baby bag checklist, just like I can use the camping checklist to make sure all of the things I've got packed before I leave, or the tech pack list that I've got. So I've got a pack list that I downloaded that has all the tech stuff for me to take, because I can't tell you how many times I've left behind my AirPods or my headphones, or that's my noise cancelling headphones. I use those to go to sleep, or I've even left my iPad behind and I use that for my Kindle book to go to bed. I've left chargers behind. I've left so much tech behind. So I actually have a tech pack list. Now, I was prepared to give my email up because for me, that is something useful, way more useful than 10% off or even free shipping. And the best part about a checklist is you brand it. 1, it's got your name on it, so people will keep it. And 2, you're probably going to sell a lot of the things that are on that checklist. So you can hyperlink to them, or you could even create a section on your website of all the things that you sell that are on the checklist. It is like win, win, win. Checklists are so easy. They're one page and you can create them super simply. You could do it in Word, you could do it in Canva. You could do a checklist and have this ready to go this afternoon. There are no excuses. The second thing I like to create is a cheat sheet. Now, I have 3 cheat sheets that if I said to you, would you like to have 7 Black Friday strategies that are guaranteed to boost sales? What would you say? Probably, well, you would say yes, like lots of other people have. Or if I said to you, you can have 10% off, or you can have 9 ways to move stock without having a sale. I can tell you that one, 10,000 people have downloaded. That's like a bonanza. Or if I said to you, hey, would you like my cheat sheet on why your Facebook ads aren't converting into sales? If you were interested in Facebook ads, sure, you would download that. So you get something out of the process. I'm giving you something to show you that I know what I'm talking about. And this is the same for your business. You need to show that you curate your range well, or you have knowledgeable staff. Whatever it is you're trading on, that's what you're showing inside of this cheat sheet. I love cheat sheets. They're usually a couple of pages and they are quick wins. So things that your customers can do to see a result instantly. So the first one was a checklist. The second one was to offer a cheat sheet. Now the third one is to create a tutorial. And you can do this so many ways. If you ever listen to the podcast for a decent amount of time, you will know that I am scarf challenged. I cannot tie a scarf in any other way other than looping it through once. And if I ever want to get a little bit creative, I always go and research a tutorial. So you can do, as I said, you can do the tutorial a couple of ways. 1, you can quite simply have a video that you get delivered. And, I'm going to pat myself on the back here and say, I was well before my time doing this, because right back 10 years ago, we were offering this. We were offering tutorials on how to wear a baby carrier, or how to tie a baby carrying sling, because that's the sort of products that we use, or how to use reusable nappies. And we would actually email videos to customers we did it 2 ways. One was to get them in this case, to get them to sign up to the database. And then we'd also use those same tutorials, post-purchase. So we would send this out after someone had bought one of those products. Now, we did ours face to camera, but you don't even have to do it that way. Depending on what your tutorial is about, you could just have like a flat lay with hands, or you could have a cheat sheet, sort of combining the two, that had the steps mapped out on how people do things. So tutorials, they're kind of next level stuff. Maybe you won't be able to get that one done in an afternoon, but those are really highly regarded, and you are really showing that you know your stuff if you're sending people a tutorial. And my last favorite thing to use to build your customer database without cutting into your profits is to give people a guide. Now, the beautiful Rebecca from Satwa Skincare has a guide, and I'm just paraphrasing here, so maybe it's not exactly called this, but it's essentially this. It's 5 ways to get more me time in 5 minutes or less. Now, Rebecca doesn't sell time, quite obviously. She sells Eco Luxe organic skincare products. So why is this important to people who buy her products? Well, she's done so much research on her ultimate customer, and she knows her ultimate customer, she's called her Betty, has a couple of kids. And those couple of kids are generally a little bit younger. They want a lot of mum's attention, and this is a stressful time for them. So Rebecca pinpointed that one of the things that these people, her ultimate customers, wanted was just a little bit of time to themselves. So she has 5 of these strategies, and one of those is to use her beautiful face mist and just sit down and I think it's just to sit down and close your eyes and put the face mist on. You guys will have to go and download it if you want to see it. But she gets amazing conversions with that. In fact, she actually occasionally sends that out to her email list, and she gets emails back that are just so wonderful, so lovely, and she always gets sales. Hilariously, she only references one product, but people buy. So this is the other important part, is understanding what that pain point is for your customer and addressing it. So pain point of the checklist in my case was new mums who are stressed out, or new impending mothers, pregnant mums, pregnant ladies. I'll get that right one day. Pregnant ladies who are a little bit anxious about going to hospital, and they want to make sure that they've got everything. So the checklist fixes that pain point. When we're talking about the cheat sheets, if I gave you my why your Facebook ads aren't converting into sales cheat sheet, that's a pain point for you. You're spending money on Facebook ads, but they're not converting into sales. If you create a tutorial, what is that pain point? In my case, it's not knowing how to tie a scarf. And when you give a guide, as I said, like Rebecca's customer, the pain point was they just want some time to themselves. What you're giving doesn't have to be about your products. Just like the hiking or the camping or the travel tech checklists, sure, they might have some products, but if you really care about your customers, you make this about them. So I think we've kind of covered the things that you could give to get, but you might be thinking, well, all of this is great, Sal, but I don't have an e-commerce website. I just have a retail store. Well, this is where I am going to get out and slap you across the back of the head and say, you can do the exact same thing in store. And if you were there on the office hours calls, you will know that I said this exact same thing to the person who asked the question, which was, why can't you offer this? Why can't you offer your cheat sheet to people who come in store? Why would you only offer it to someone who's already bought from you? Like, that's just being rude. And of course, once we talked about giving to get, all of a sudden it made sense. And all of a sudden that concept of being a sleazy douchebag just goes out the window. So can you imagine if you owned a camping store and your team were just wandering around and saying, hey, would you love to get our free camping checklist? I can guarantee a lot of people are going to say yes. It's so much nicer than, hey, would you like to sign up to our newsletter? Like, I don't even know if I will want to buy your stuff, but I do want your camping checklist, or I do want your hiking checklist. So I'm really happy to give you my email address in return. So this is like one of those game-changing things that you can do in your business. And best of all, it's free. this doesn't cost you anything. You can create your checklist or your guide or your cheat sheet or your tutorial just using Word or Canva or your iPhone if you're doing a video. So there really is no excuse for you to not be doing it. And when it comes to delivery, if you're using like our favorite system like Klaviyo, you can use that system to deliver the information, to deliver the cheat sheet or to deliver the guide or the tutorial or the checklist. All this is done automatically. All you have to do is put the offer in front of somebody. Which leads me just to my very, very last part, which is, what do you do with this thing once you have it? Do you only offer it to new customers? Well, no, is the answer. You need to get this thing out there, because the best part is this builds your credibility. It doesn't matter if it's a checklist or a cheat sheet or a tutorial or a guide. It's building your credibility as an expert in the area that you're in. And I don't care if you're selling shoes or if you're selling fashion or if you're selling organic skincare products or camping gear. People have to know that you know what you're talking about. So you 100% should send this to your existing customers, because it's going to build that rapport. It's going to build that trust, and they're likely to forward it on to a friend. So you could gain a new customer simply by sending an email. Who doesn't want to do that? You've got to remember to use your pop-ups wisely on your website. So you need to put this in your pop-up. Remember we talked about that beginning pop-up when people first come, and then we have the exit intent pop-up. And you can have different offers on each of those. And of course, you can always spend money on this thing. You can use your cheat sheet to drive paid ads. So you get an email straight away. And when you send that email, you get them to come to the website. So you have that flow, you have that customer journey, you have that funnel in place, so that once you've got the email address, you're initiating people into your brand, you're welcoming them, you're showing them what it is that you sell, you're showcasing your brand. Hopefully this is all making sense to you, and I really do hope that this concept of being able to build your customer database simply and for free, and even better, without costing you profits. I know that I said for free, but I meant for free in the sense that you don't necessarily have to pay for ads to do this, but also free in the sense that you aren't giving up your money in order to build your customer database. It is totally 100% doable. And like I said, this is something, if you put your mind to it, that you could do this afternoon. So tell me, are you going to do it? I'm going to put it out there. If you go and create something brand new, so you have to have not done this before. If you go and create something brand new and you send me a message over on Facebook, on my Facebook page, The Selena Knight, I am going to give you a bit of a shout out so that you can drive some traffic to your website for free. And in the process, you can build your customer database and you can showcase just how awesome your store, whether it's a physical store or an e-commerce store, is. Well, that's it for me today. Have a fantastic rest of your week, and I will see you back here, same time, same place, next week. Until then, be profitable. Bye. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode of the Bringing Business to Retail podcast. You can find all of the show notes over at selenaknight.com. If you found something that you heard today particularly useful, I'd love it if you could leave me a review on iTunes or Stitcher. And of course, feel free to share this episode with someone that you think could benefit by listening to it. Want more retail biz strategies? You can watch the Bringing Business to Retail TV show, where each week I'll answer a question or provide you with a simple, actionable retail biz strategy that you can implement in your business right away. If you have a question or a guest, I'd love to hear from you. Drop my team an email at podcast@selenaknight.com, and I'll see you on the next episode. Have a great week.